Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to import your footage into Photoshop and work with it for the rotoscoping project. We're going to import this as an image sequence. We can actually go up here and just open, and if you navigate to your sequence files, select the first one and select image sequence down here, and this will import all of the frames as one image sequence at the designated frame rate. You don't need to select all of them, just select the first one. So we hit open, and then it will ask us here what frame rate we want to be at. So we're going to do 12.5 for this project. You can choose, 10 or 12 or whatever you want to for other projects. 12.5 because we're working at 2s for PAL footage. So here we go. And here is our project here. I'm going to shut that down. That's what I want to close. Okay, so here's our project. And we want to, first of all, bring up our timeline so that we can see what we're working with. And that's here in Window. And when we open that up, note that this timeline comes up. So this is how Photoshop works with time-based media. And here you can kind of scroll through, see what you've got there, and it's really working on it frame by frame. So our footage is imported as one layer within a video group. If you need to zoom in, you can do that with here, this little icon. It's also telling your frame rate down here. You can play it. Also note, like sometimes if your RAM isn't enough, if it turns red like this, that means it's not playing at the actual rate. So oftentimes people will say to me, oh, my animation, it looked so much slower in Photoshop. It's because your computer doesn't have enough RAM or it's not designated properly, or it's rendering or something like that. See, it's kind of rendered this far. So I think if I play it now, there we go. Now it's playing at 12.5. Okay. So this just works like a regular old timeline. These video groups are organized over here in your layers panel, and they basically act as like folders. And so inside each folders, you can either have a whole bunch of frames or you can have a one long video. And so we'll just be working with video for this because we're going to do straight ahead animation, and that's the simplest. So we're going to start by creating another one of these video layers. And if you go up here to layer, video layer, new blank video layer, that's going to give us our working surface because we don't really want to draw right on top of the footage, right? We want to be able to turn it off. So, you can turn it off over here in the layers panel, just like you could any layer. All right, so where did my footage go? That's why it put it. So if you have your timeline kind of over here, it's going to put your footage right where the time indicator is. So we just need to slide that back to the start. And now we have a blank working surface that we can animate on. And you can really create as many of these as you want. So note up here, it's created it as a new video layer. Hasn't put it in a video group folder because it's really just one layer of stuff. So let's go ahead and do some drawing on this. I'm going to pick my favorite pencil, pick my favorite color. Let's go orange. Okay, so there's the first frame. Now if I move the time indicator to the next frame, you notice that the drawing disappears. And so that allows you to just start anew. Now, if you want to see what you did before, you can turn on onion skinning. That's over here in this little panel if you enable the onion skins, you see that it sort of creates a multiply, so it kind of changes the footage and stuff, but you can see the lines that you did before. So if I was going to like add some animation here, I could use that as a reference. And then I can also see the outline that I did, so I can get some good consistency in my drawing. And then I can go on to the next frame, etc., etc., etc. Now, let's say I wanted to actually see, to make that line, like more than one frame there, I can go into the onion skin settings, and I can actually decide, all right, I want to see 2 frames before. And see, now you can see that I can see both of the frames that I drew before as a reference. So you can really kind of set that to as many as you want. You can see frames afterwards as well if you need to in between. Okay, so now, I could turn the reference layer off, and I can actually see the animation. It will play back those onion skin layers, so if you want to see it without the onion skin, you need to go and turn that off, and then you can kind of see how your animation is starting to develop. Now, the nice thing is that you can create as many of these layers as you want. So if you want to work with like the outline on one layer and then the color on another layer, you can do that. You can separate out things as however complicated as you want, really. And you can also put in static layers, which are just normal Photoshop layers. So if I hit here and this, here we have layer number 3 is come down, so I could actually put a background on here if I wanted to. So let's like kind of put that circle in there. Let's change to an airbrush, and we'll make it blue. Okay, so now what you'll see is that the this static layer that I have here is going to just extend under the entire animation. So I can kind of scroll through my previous frames and that layer stays there. So that's pretty handy. The other thing that you could do is you could just not have, you could have some transparency, so you could draw one part of the background, and then if you wanted to do some compositing in After Effects, you can export this with an alpha channel and then composite it that way onto some other stuff going on. So let's talk about exporting then. We can just go up here to File, Export, and Rendered Video. And always, of course, make sure that your reference footage is turned off so you don't render that with your video. And then you just want to select your folder where it's going to go. I'll make a new folder here. Did that last time. Whoops, here we go. Okay, And then if you are doing transparency, you need to have an image sequence with PNG, because PNG will render an alpha channel. And that is over here in the render options. So say you want to do pre-multiplied with black or something like that, and then you can take it into After Effects and interpret it. PNG formats, you can say no compression, keep it nice and high quality, and just double check that your document size is the size that it should be. And the frame rate, yeah, it does matter, because if it's something different, then it might crop off some of your frames and stuff. So make sure that you got the work area set. One thing I do notice down here is that my background actually ends before my footage does. That's going to be a problem. So I should probably, I don't think I can do that in here. No, let's see. Let's go back down here. Double check for stuff like that. Zoom all the way out. And let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see all the layers. Yeah, see, so if I got to this point, then suddenly my background would disappear. Whoops. So let's drag that out to the end. Now we're ready to render. Okay, so export, render video. Got the PNG settings, got my folder selected. Let's just name this parts. That's not spelled right. And looks like we're good to go. So hit render, and it could take a while. And if it does, then go get a cup of coffee and then come back and you're ready to go.